Hello everyone, it's Duck7. Today we are playing a GOLGARI Freestrider brew. Okay, so this build is strictly mid-range build using Freestrider to gain a considerable card advantage, mana advantage. So to do this, I'm using 4 Scrabbling Claws, 3 Agatha Soul Cauldron. These cards all trigger Freestrider, and you play them before you get to play the Freestrider, of course. So they work very well together, and it's also just 7 pieces of Graveyard Hate, which is great against any graveyard-based deck which has some graveyard synergies. Okay, so Agatha Soul Cauldron, powerful card, enable us to really abuse the Grist, the Hunger Tide in this build. Also Arbor Elf, and this is basically my only 2 Agatha Soul Cauldron targets in this build in my part of the deck, but in my opinion this has been more than enough in this type of build where you're doing the drawing, you're finding Grist every game, and you're doing the value the Grist provides with Agatha. It can get really crazy really fast, and it's just another let's say way to kill creatures in addition to Fatal Push and the sideboard cards like Pick Your Poison. Okay, so on the sideboard I have Havar Mites, and very important piece, a Fulminator Mage. Fulminator Mage is a card that also works great with Agatha Soul Cauldron, goes in frequently and does a great job against all the greedy mana bases and the decks that care about lands. Also being in Golgari means I get to play a huge amount of these like artifact enchantment hate, which is very important right now. So I have Havar Mites, I have Force of Figure, and I also have Pick Your Poisons. Pick Your Poisons are good in different matchups than these other cards, so it's okay to play that much artifact enchantment hate in my opinion right now. Okay, so additional graveyard hate in Relic of Progenitus could be like abundant, but in my experience so far Relic is great from the sideboard. There's no downsides in having this much graveyard hate post board. Relic does a great job in triggering Freestrider too. So I don't want Relic in main, I prefer Claws, because Claws, first thing, they're able to trigger Freestrider twice, because you target the player by tapping it, and then you also target by playing 1 mana and exiling card from the graveyard. And since I already have 7 pieces of graveyard hate in the main, Claws really feels like enough of the graveyard for the graveyard hate option in the main. Okay, so but yeah, pretty happy with Relic too, and Pitting Needle, another saga target. We get to always find a bunch of sagas in this build since I have Freestrider in it, but also get to find lands like Mortuary, Underground Mortuary, which enables me to surveil, a Peatland enables me to draw, and Yawimaya, a Cradle of Growth, enables me to target opponent's lands with my Arbor Elf, which can then trigger crimes, triggering Freestrider even more. So there are some nice synergies here, and also to top everything we got 4 One Rings and Sheldred, which are amazing at finishing games and just getting things, stabilizing things and getting things go your way. Okay, so that is it. Let's go check out the gameplay, but before that, if you want to support my channel and also interested in cool token solution for your paper collection, you can check out the site Card Elk, which offers this cool token solution for your paper collection. You can check all the details on their page, and you can find the link down below in the comments. Use my link to purchase product from that site, and you will support my channel like that. Okay, so let's go check out the gameplay. Okay, so match 1, I'm playing first. Okay, so decent hand, nothing crazy, kind of slow, but I have 1 Fatal Push and I only need to draw one land, so it seems very keepable. Okay, so I start with the Fatal Push, draw the Bowmasters for a turn, pass the turn obviously, player playing Sanctifier and me getting the Arbor Elf from the top, not hitting the third land is not great, but okay. So opponent also plays Leonin Arbiter and kills my land with Ghost Quarter, then plays Sword of Fire Ice. So this is definitely a problem, but I have double Arbor Elf now, which can block Sword pretty well, and I get to play the One Ring, so they can't deal damage for one turn at least. Okay, opponent plays the Vial, equips the sword, passes the turn, but I have a bunch of green creatures now. So I can play my other elf, but I completely fail doing this, and of course didn't play against Arbiter for some time, so I will completely just brain farted, and not once but multiple times. But yeah, the ring and the Sheldred are just so strong that it didn't even matter. Okay, so I was slowly draining my opponent. Okay, so I play the Arbor Elf here as a blocker for the Sanctifier. Play the Bowmaster, attack with a Sheldred, pass the turn, but opponent finds Solitude plus Ephemerate. This means they can Solitude my blocker, but they kind of failed too and just went for the bigger creatures, so I was able to block. Okay, so I played the Cauldron here, played the Lookout, played the Scrabbling Claws, so I have my Lookout here as a blocker. I have a bunch of Lookouts too in my hand, so I can just use this one to jump if needed. So I trigger my Freestrider again, gaining some life because of opponent's Solitude. They have Sanctifier at this point, but with two swords in it, but I can at least exile what they target there with the swords, so they don't get that much value. And yeah, opponent uses the sword and passes the turn. So my opponent did do a bunch of stuff, but I still have so much, and even though I didn't play perfectly there, I'm still very much ahead. Okay, so here I play the Freestrider so I can jump their Sanctifier. I play another Freestrider. Opponent this time has the Oven Interrupter. This means my spell gets plotted and I have to play 2 more to play it next turn. Okay, so again opponent attacking, this time going in for 5. And I'm just taking the Giver of Runes, putting it on my Arbor Elf, and this means starting from next turn, when I untap, I'll be able to have the Giver of Runes ability, give it to my creatures, and I have a bunch of cards in my hand too. Okay, so now I can go for the Sheldred, gain life, play another blocker. I have a bunch of options here, also gaining just insane amount of life here, tapping 1 ring for 6 to draw 6 cards. That is a lot. Okay, so I go in for the Mortuary, play another elf and the Claws, and here I can I still have I'm saving this Arbor Elf because it has the Giver of Runes ability, and just passing the turn. Okay, so I am again in a decent position. Opponent has to kill the Sheldred. They just go in with Solitude this time. Not sure what was their plan. They have the Giver of Runes, of course, so they can just attack and gain life. I guess that was the plan. But I can give a protection from the colors too, so opponent actually doesn't gain life, so this attack doesn't do anything for them. And now I have a double Giver of Runes, let's say. I don't even want to tap my One Ring at this point. I only have 16 cards left in my library, so I'm good by just playing this One Ring, getting the protection, and just to try to protect my Sheldred and win with Sheldred here. Okay, so I get the ring protection, untap my spells, play as many creatures as I can this turn, and next turn I can start attacking. Okay, I also play my Lookout here, and yeah, I get to do the abilities. I get to do a lot, finding another Urza Saga, and on their turn I get to do 2 more abilities with it, so yeah. Also the ring protection and the Sheldred, and they only have 1 card in hand, so yeah, pretty much very bad situation for the opponent. Sheldred is also slowly draining the opponent, but next turn I can even just start attacking. I also have double Fatal Push there and the Grist to clear the way. I can also just go double Bowmasters if I want. Okay, opponent plots my Fatal Push, but I go for another one. They find Cauldron, and yeah, I kill their Giver of Runes, and then play my double Bowmasters to kill their Interrupter. With the Bowmasters I can also use the Grist to kill a second flyer, and yeah, I have just so many options right now. I can do a bunch of stuff, but it's not even necessary. I can just like pass the turn and wait until they die for the Sheldred, or when I have like some good attacks here and my opponent finally concedes. That is the game. Let's check out game 2 against Death and Texas. Okay, so against Texas in this matchup I boarded out a couple of Freestriders, a couple of Bowmasters, and 1 Scrabbling Claws, since I'm trimming on Freestriders. I definitely wanted to slot in some of the artifact enchantment hate I had on my sideboard. Okay, so I tried to go for the Freestrider on turn 2. Opponent has Reprieve, so it doesn't happen. They have Ghost Quarter and Volatile Fault. Okay, I go for Utopia Sprawl. Utopia Sprawl basically forces them to use this thing. And yeah, okay, so now they go for the Ghost Quarter to use their Aether Vial. I have a Pitting Needle to stop their Aether Vial, so after I resolve the Pitting Needle, they'll only have 1 land, 1 plains, which is just a really good situation for me. I also get to play the Grist, plus the Grist make the insect token. And yeah, now they can't use their Aether Vial, so they already used the Volatile Fault, and the Ghost Quarter basically losing 2 lands, so they can't really be that fast in this situation. So I go for a Grist to kill the Archon and play another Arbor Elf and just play my land and pass the turn. I have a bunch of spells in my deck that trigger Freestrider, so it's if they can kill it, and seems like they can't, it's just a matter of time. before it takes over the game. Okay, I have a bunch of green creatures here, which stops their Sanctifier from attacking. They need to find sword or something to be able to attack. Okay, so I have the Fatal Push. Fatal Push is decent here. I can't trigger the Freestrider, but that's completely fine. So I draw the one ring from the top, and yeah, it's again a great situation for me. I keep Haywire Might on top. I think that's like pretty good card to keep in this matchup. Okay, so opponent plays the Arbiter, and yeah, I triggered the Freestrider end of their turn, which means I'm untapping with Urza Saga on 2 counters, which is amazing. Now I also get the Scrabbling Crow, so I can trigger my Freestrider again, getting another Saga, and this is just brutal card advantage. Doing with Freestrider Lookout, because getting 2 Urza Sagas there, then being able just to repeat this again and find a bunch of lands, and with 1 ring of on the field I can just play a bunch of cards and overtake this game. So I go for play the Shieldred, make a token, draw more cards, and I have very good attacks here. Next turn attacking with the Shieldreds, the constructs, with everything, making more constructs. I am a bit low on time, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, so opponent plays a Stone Forge. Their only hope right now is try to win on time, but yeah, that's not really happening probably right now. So I'm gaining more life, drawing more cards. My opponent is on 9, killing their blocker, and now I'm going for as much damage as I can, and that is enough for the lethal. They also have to like jump with Sanctifiers, so that is game over and the match. Okay, so let's check out match 2. Okay, so decent hand. I have turn 2 play, turn 3 play, turn 4 play. I decide to put the 1 ring into the graveyard. That was maybe I shouldn't done that, because opponent was on Totsis and discarded my 2nd ring, but my mana curve was already a bit high, so that is why I decided to graveyard the 1 ring. Okay, now I play my Freestrider Lookout. My opponent is playing Fatal Push. This means that they need fetch to be able to kill the Lookout, so I went for that. And opponent instead plays the Murktide Regent. Pretty good right now. I get to play the Bowmasters, trigger the Lookout. Unfortunately didn't find Urza Saga. That was card I was looking for here, but I got the Bowmasters on the field, then surveilled for another Bowmasters on top, so I'm okay with that. Okay, so here I can play my fetch, and already both surveillance are on the field, but I can try to go for the Bowmasters. Okay, I get it here, doing another Bowmasters trigger, triggering Freestrider too. This time finding Urza Saga, so pretty good. Opponent finally kills my Lookout, but I already got a lot of value from it. Now I was able to attack with Bowmasters, make a construct token, and Saga in the end overtook this game. So my opponent had a 7/7 Murktide, which was not enough for the win. And opponent plays the Archmage Charm to survive this turn, but I find the Lookout to be able to block the Murktide and then win on the swing back. Opponent is on top deck mode, doesn't find the removal, and that is it. Okay, so let's check out game 2. Okay, I obviously had to mulligan this one. Keeping a 2-lander here is pretty good. I have Utopia Sprawl, I have Pick Your Poison, which is pretty good against a pretty efficient way to kill their Murktide. It doesn't actually trigger the Lookout, but it's just a great card to have right now in your sideboard. Okay, so opponent passing the turn, they play a bunch of counter spells. They have Drowning Locks, they have counter spells, a lot of removal, so you have to play a really long, patient game. And okay, so here I'm trying to resolve the Lookout next turn, so probably the best thing here, depending on my opponent's play, is try to go for the Bowmasters, make them counter that, then resolve the Lookout, hope to draw into close. Let's check out the sideboarding plan. Okay, so they play the Bowmasters, so I decided to remove all the Arbor Elves and one Agatha Soul Cauldron, since I don't have that much Agatha Soul Cauldron targets. Okay, at the moment. Okay, so here I go for the Freestrider, but they have counterspell for it, but at least I resolved my Bowmasters, attacking my opponent, and I still keep like a Fatal Push because they play Bowmasters, probably maybe like something like Shieldred, so I still need my pushes. But opponent has a counterspell here for my 2 key spells, and yeah, I was able to attacking, but I only have a single 1/1, and the Fatal Push and Pick Your Poison in my hand are not doing much at the moment. Okay, so opponent goes for the Murktide, and they have 2 cards in hand right now. That's okay if they don't counter my Pick Your Poison, of course. They don't, so I'm still in this game. My opponent probably in a better position, especially now since they played the Lorien Revealed. I'm hoping to hit my ring or the Shieldred, and I get the Shieldreds probably turn too late. And yeah, but it's still a very good threat, but my opponent already drew like 4 cards last turn, so they were able to find a solution for it. Opponent goes a Fatal Push end of turn, unfortunately, yeah, finding a solution for the Shellred, and yeah, they're still on 8 and they still don't have much. It seems at least like that. So I sack my close, but only finding another land. Definitely not what I need. Okay, so here my opponent cycles the Shark Typhoon. I didn't expect to see the Shark Typhoon, but yeah, pretty good card for this matchup. And now they went for the Sauron Ransom, and yeah, they got too much value out of it. And I find the One Ring from top, but it was too late. My opponent has a bunch of counter spells and more card advantage, so that is it. I decide to concede. Let's check out game 3. A long matches against control decks. No green sources there, so I decided to mulligan, keeping a decent hand here. I have Pick Your Poison and Bowmasters, Lookout, all like pretty good cards for the matchup. Starting with Survey Land, of course. Okay, so Agatha Soul Cauldron is definitely a good card for the matchup. It's hating on their graveyard, it's enabling my Freestrider Lookout. It's also like can exile the Grist from the yard, which is very hard to deal here. So Agatha Soul Cauldron has like multiple uses in this build. Yeah, okay, so going for finding the Grist in hand is like pretty good for the matchup. I decide to like let them counter the Grist first. Try to hoping to resolve the Freestrider Lookout, and kind of Grist is good in the yard. I will resolve a creature at one point, and then Grist will probably take over the game. Okay, so here it is, the lookout, and opponent has another counter there. I'm using Agatha to clear their graveyard from the instant sorceries which fuel their Murktide. Okay, so opponent stuck on lands, same as me, passing the turn. I find another Bowmasters, not really what I want here, but it is good. It's enabling me to play it end of turn, try to resolve the creature, finally get that Grist. Okay, here opponent steps 3 mana, but then doesn't do anything. Probably means they have like Archmage Charm in hand, or the 3 steps ahead, the new, relatively new card. Okay, so here opponent goes for explosives. Explosives is great. Here taking care of my Agatha Cauldron, it's a very important piece for this match. Okay, so here I'm going for the lookout, which means like they really have to either counter the lookout, Freestrider, or just crack the explosives to kill Agatha. I get to exile another instant from their graveyard, pretty happy with that. So yeah, okay, so I can't really play my Bowmasters right now, because they'll just use the explosives. Okay, here I go for the Grist. In response, opponent kills my Agatha, and I finally resolve my Grist. So now I have a creature. I can minus the Grist if they play the Murktide, kill their Heart Rats. Opponent finds a Bowmasters. They can kill my insect token, attack into the Grist, but yeah, thankfully they don't have another Bowmaster to kill my Grist here, so it's a good, very good news for me. And I make an insect token, passing the turn with double Bowmaster in my hand. And yeah, okay, here opponent goes for Shark Typhoon, making a 3/3 shark. In response, I play double Bowmasters, killing both Bowmasters and the shark token. Okay, so it's like I get 4 triggers, which is insane. I get to kill both of their creatures, and in response to that, my opponent immediately concedes the match. So that is a win in match 2. Okay, let's check out match 3. Okay, so in match 3 I was playing against a player who played recent brew from my channel, the Golgari Bristly Bill brew with Insidious Roots. Okay, opponent started with Gravecrawler. I can go for turn 2 Grist, which is pretty turn 2 Freestrider, or Grist is great play against most decks. I decide not to let opponent attack into Grist here, kind of let them put their Gravecrawler in the yard, which is unfortunate, but yeah, it's okay. I'll definitely have to deal with these roots in this game, and definitely have to deal with multiple plant tokens. Okay, I get to attack with Freestrider here, passing the turn, leaving them on 8. At this point I'm now making Urza Saga tokens for the next turn, which can attack. Opponent plays Gravecrawler from the graveyard, triggering roots, also putting a Bloodgust in the yard. Okay, I find Claws here, but if I use my Claws on my opponent, they can exile the creature, which gets them 2 more of the plant tokens. So if they have roots on the field, it doesn't play that well into my Claws, and but I have Agatha Soul Cauldron, which is great against their deck, since they also play stuff like Grist. So you will see in game 2 how that went. Okay, so here opponent plays a Bristly Bill. Bristly Bill is also a plant, so when you trigger Insidious Roots, Bristly Bill is also getting counters, and he have a very powerful abilities right now on Bristly Bill, which enables him to double the counters on all creatures for 5 mana, and since plants are giving you mana, it's very easy to do so in the mid game. Okay, so bunch of creatures. I have a lot of stuff on my side of the field, but not enough for lethal there. So I just pass the turn with 4 blockers, hoping my opponent won't attack, but they go for the Bristly Bill ability, and that is too much damage, just too much. I am on 18, but their creatures are just so huge. I can maybe survive a turn, maybe not. My opponent doesn't attack with everything, so I can survive another turn, but I don't really have ways to win this. They are too high on life. I have 2 damage in Sheldred. I have 4 damage in Grist, let's say, but that is not enough. They still can survive on 2 life, so that is game over. Let's check out game 2. The bill went really crazy in that one. Okay, so I have a bunch of graveyard hate, which obviously makes me really good against their deck. I just have to kill the Insidious Roots, and I have a bunch of enchantment hate on my sideboard to do this. So I have Havermites, I have Pick Your Poisons. I didn't even board in the Force of Figures since it would be just too much. And since they also play Grist, so I boarded out 2 of my own. I have Agatha Soul Cauldron there. Opponent goes for Tyvar, and then Tyvar actually puts Supplier in the field. Supplier puts a Grist in the field, and that is like crazy news here, because I have Agatha Soul Cauldron, so I put a counter on exile their Grist, put counter on my Bowmasters, start making a bunch of Grist tokens, and quickly just overwhelm the board. Pick Your Poison doesn't do much in this situation since I have multiple artifacts. And yeah, now I get to exile their Bristly Bill 2 and double the counters on my creatures and do a bunch of these Grist abilities, and my opponent quickly concedes. That is game 2. Let's check out game 3. Okay, so game 3, I would say this is pretty good hand. Have everything I need to beat this type of deck. Fatal Push, Bowmasters, Agatha Soul Cauldron, Sheldred, Urza Saga. Very powerful hand. Okay, I start off with killing their Halfling. Their Halfling enables them to play Bristly Bill on turn 2, then play the fetch, start putting a large number of fetches on Bill. Okay, they get to do it anyway. Putting a counter on Bill, putting counter on Gravecrawler. They also play Agatha Soul Cauldron, which is pretty good for them. They can also just use the Agatha Soul Cauldron ability. I played the Bowmasters, end of turn. Opponent didn't attack, they were probably expecting the Bowmasters there. Okay, so I go play the Soul Cauldron of my own. Opponent in response takes the last creature in the yard, but since I have Soul Cauldron now, this means either me or my opponent basically can't really use it at this point. Okay, so opponent is in great position, but they don't attack here, they just pass the turn. And yeah, okay, now I was able to resolve my one ring, get protection for a turn, find another one ring from the top, so I can repeat this next game. And I also have Shepherd in my hand, which is, as we know, like really amazing with the one ring. Also, opponent mills over the Grist, but neither of us can't really use the Soul Cauldron until I find a solution for it to kill it. Okay, so I want Shepherd before I use my one ring. Then I play Arbor Elf as a blocker here and pass the turn. Luckily I had my Soul Cauldron, or opponent would probably just go too far ahead here. My opponent has Carrion Feeder, they have Gravecrawler, which means if they get the Tower they have the infinite combo, but not really because they have Soul Cauldron. Okay, so opponent finally attacks here with the Bristly Bill. I get to do a construct token and finding a Havar Might. Havar Might is really crucial at this point. Killing their Agatha Soul Cauldron now. When I do this, I can start using my Agatha Soul Cauldron here, and that card is like really huge for this matchup, doing so much work. Now I get to play Relic and play another Arbor Elf, which means next turn I get to do so much stuff again. Just replay the one ring, replay, get the protection again, start drawing into more Urza Sagas, which I'm waiting for them to kind of win the game. Also, I have so much graveyard hate in this build that their Souls of the Lost are not very good, and it's just very unfortunate matchup for my opponent. Okay, so I have a bunch of cards here. It's just a matter of time before I win this one, and yeah, I have construct beatdown is my game plan here, definitely, and I'm not in a hurry to do it. I can just play the Freestriders, trigger them, make more constructs, cast one ring again if needed. Now I can also just start attacking with the constructs. And yeah, opponent didn't have Insidious Roots this game. They really need Insidious Roots in this matchup, because it's hard for me to play around Insidious Roots. I have to remove their creatures from the yard when using stuff like Agatha or Cloves, and it works very well against artifact based graveyard hate. So, but they didn't have it this game, so I got the easy win, and that is the match. Okay, so let's check out match 4. Okay, so this is pretty decent game, decent hand. I start off with Forest and Utopia Sprawl, and next turn I can go for the Grist plus Saga, which is pretty good, or the Freestrider Lookout. My opponent is on Amulet Titan. I decide to go for the Grist. Plusing the Grist, unfortunately I milled over a land. I was really hoping to get that land, but yeah, here I decide to trigger my Freestrider by minusing the Grist, killing their Grazer, so I got the land on the field, which I feel was important. So next turn I can jam Sheldred or the One Ring, whatever. Okay, so here opponent has amulet on the field, they get another one, and they have another bounce land in their hand, which means they have 4 mana here. They get to play the One Ring and really grow their construct tokens here, which means killing my Grist. Okay, so here, unfortunately, I misclicked and didn't take mana from Saga here, which was really important here, so I wasn't really able to kill their construct token, and that would also trigger my Lookout, which was just incredibly unfortunate here. This means they also get to attack with both of their construct tokens. But yeah, they got a Summoner's Pact, so it probably doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, it was a huge misclick. Opponent finds a Casting Wolf Run, that is new thing Amulet does. Going for the Mirror Pool, Casting Wolf Run, kill. And yeah, they done it. It's not a kill, but I'm just prolonging losing my game here, so I can't really make it out of this one. So that is a game for the Amulet opponent, and let's check out game 2. Let's also check out the sideboarding plan for this one. Okay, so in this one, taking out all the Lookouts, I don't really need the grind. In this matchup, taking out 1 Grist and 4 Fatal Pushes and going in with all the hate I have. This is like Force of Figures, Havar Mites, Pick Your Poisons, Fulminator Mages. There is a lot, even like Pitting Needles work well. Okay, so here I play the Fulminator Mage, kill the Saga, and just start attacking with my Elf. Next turn I have Urza Saga, start making constructs or go for the Grist, whatever. Opponent has Amulet, has a Dryad, has Urza Saga, so again pretty good for them. I make a token and exile Fulminator Mage, which means killing another land. Opponent attacks Grist, and I top deck a Force of Figure from top, which just basically seals the game, killing the Saga, killing the Dryad. I also get the mana to use the Havar Mite, kill the Amulet, and then I also just exile the Havar Mite with Soul Cauldron on, put counter on Arbor Elf and kill another land. It's basically just overkill at this point. It's just had everything I needed this one. It was pretty brutal. Okay, so in game 3 I keep a hand with Force of Figure. That is often very good. And okay, but here I start with Arbor Elf. Next turn I can go for the Grist. I can even just hard cast the Force of Figure, but I decide to just, I want to play something like Grist on my turn, and I wanted to Force of Figure their Amulets on their turn. Okay, so here after they played the One Ring, I decide it's best to just put the Bowmasters on the field. If they don't have a solution for it, this means they will lose a bunch of life tapping this ring. I go for the Survey Land, of course, putting Grist on the field, dealing more damage with the Bowmasters. Didn't want to attack into Endurance or something like that. Okay, opponent goes for the Explorer, goes for the Amulet, passes the turn, and they really did have a lot here, but I was able to find Havar Mite thanks to my Urza Saga. This kills their Amulet, and I had Pitting Needle in my hand to name the One Ring. Of course, I played One Ring too, but it's just very good in this situation. Opponent taps the One Ring in response, taking 3 more damage from Bowmasters. Yeah, which means I should probably just play this Pitting Needle before combat. This would make them unable to tap the One Ring in response. Okay, so they go for another ring, surviving on 2, but that is not enough, because I can just minus my Grist and kill them with the Grist for lethal. So that is the match against Amulet Titan. And let's check out the only loss from this league. Okay, so I was playing first and had pretty good hand. Really happy with this one. Yavimaya in my hand, so I can just go for the swamp here and play the claws and also have Soul Cauldron, which means if I get to resolve the Freestrider on turn 3, it can get pretty crazy. So I can just go for close on my turn, then try to trigger the Freestrider again on their turn with the Agatha Soul Cauldron. Okay, so I go for the Freestrider here. My opponent is on mono black, so I definitely get the trigger here, finding the Mortuary, putting Utopia Sprawl in the yard. Opponent unfortunately finds Shielded Edict here to kill my Freestrider. Okay, so now they attack my lands. I go for the Field of Ruin, but I'm still pretty good, pretty well positioned here. I can go for play the Grist. I have the Bowmasters, plenty of options here. So I go for the Arbor Elf, go for the Grist, plus the Grist start making tokens. Next turn I can play another Grist and put one in the yard, so exile it with Cauldron and start making some real advantage here in board presence. Okay, opponent plays the One Ring. I have the Bowmasters. Okay, so I plus the Grist, as I said, play another one, exile it with Cauldron, make a bunch of these tokens, really a lot of them. They try to tap the ring again, but I play the Bowmasters in response. Unfortunately, opponent finds a Bowmasters of their own and also coffers. Okay, so I make more of these insect tokens. I have really a large board right now. So yeah, I'm just don't have many options here. I just go with everything I have, deal as much damage as I can. Make plus the Grist, make more tokens. Next turn I can try to attack with everything, try to ultimate Grist, but opponent gets a few more damage from their One Ring and finds engineered explosives here, which then kill my entire board without even killing their Bowmasters. So that was too much to recover from this game, and I did have like a Soul Cauldron here, but I was not able to use it since they had the Grist, and they now play the Cityscape Leveler, which just sealed the game. So that was it. Let's check out game 2. Okay, so game 2. Again, pretty decent hand. I have Claws, turn 1, turn 2 Cauldron, Bowmasters, Grist, One Ring. This is all like very good cards. Okay, so unfortunately I had like 2 basics, which is unfortunate if they have the type of hands with a bunch of Field of Ruins. I go for the Overgrown Tomb, resolve my Grist, and plussing the Grist. Next turn I also have Soul Cauldron. Attacking more, putting my opponent down on 14, drawing another card. There is Sheldred, and unfortunately I milled over my second forest, so when my opponent went for Field of Ruin here, I didn't have another land, which put me in a lot worse situation than I would be if I didn't mill over my forests. I would now find my fourth land and play this One Ring or Sheldred. Even Sheldred would be even better. So yeah, with Sheldred on the field, it would be hard for them to use the One Ring, and it was definitely the deciding factor here. So a bit of unluck, not finding the lands I needed here, and I tried to take the Fulminator with Agatha Soul Cauldron, but it didn't happen. Fulminator would help, maybe let me stabilize here. I have Bowmasters on the field. They have to find a solution for that. Okay, but yeah, they had the Bowmasters on their own and way to kill my Agatha, so that was a game over. I conceded, and that was the match. Okay, so Freestrider is a great mid-range piece, and in this build we really get to utilize it with a bunch of these spells that trigger it, also like Fatal Push, Bowmasters, even Grist. A lot of ways to trigger it, even Arbor Elf when we have Yaimaya on the field. That didn't come up in this league, but it is definitely a tech you can use to trigger your Freestrider and let's say give function to Arbor Elf in the late game. And also you can just exile the Arbor Elf with Soul Cauldron, so every creature can just trigger the Freestrider. Fulminators are incredibly important post board, as well as Havar Mites. And that is it. Okay, so it's just a classic mid-range One Ring build that also has this like a huge another win condition grind engine. So Freestrider plus the One Ring and the Sheldred make like incredible grind, plus all these other pieces that work well together. And I'm really happy with this build, and I believe it's like one of the best mid-range style builds of this kind with Freestrider I tried so far. And that's it. Okay, so hope you liked the video, hope you liked the gameplay. Again, if you want to support my channel, check the video in video description below. Card Elk, use the Card Elk link to buy their products, buy their tokens, and support my channel by doing so. Okay, so a friendly reminder for the end to click like, click subscribe, comment in the video. Tell me how do you feel about this version of the Freestrider build in comparison to other mid-range-ish maybe builds you've seen. Okay, so again, that's it for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.